The velvet curtain fell, a final whisper of red against the bright stage lights. Clara, her chest heaving, listened to the thunderous applause. She had given everything to this performance, every ounce of strength, every graceful movement honed over decades. Her heart ached with a familiar bittersweet pang. This was her goodbye. The world saw her age, the lines etched around her eyes, the silver threading through her hair. They saw a career nearing its end. But Clara saw only the music, felt only the dance floor beneath her aging feet. Retirement loomed, a cruel sentence for a woman who lived to dance. Clara retreated to her dressing room, the applause fading behind her. She removed her tiara, its weight insignificant compared to the weight settling on her soul. "You're amazing, Clara," gushed a young dancer, her eyes wide with admiration. "But everyone says this is your last performance. They say you're too old." Clara forced a smile. Too old. The words echoed in the silence of the dressing room, a constant, unwelcome companion. The next morning the world felt dull, devoid of music and the rhythm of dance. Clara sat by the window, a cup of untouched tea growing cold beside her. She watched children playing in the park, their laughter a painful reminder of her own fading youth. Her reflection in the window pane mocked her with the truth. She was no longer the young, vibrant dancer who had taken the world by storm. But her heart, oh, her heart still danced. It yearned for the stage, for the feel of the spotlight, for the freedom of movement. The newspaper lay open on the table, its headline taunting her. "Prima ballerina retires a farewell to grace." Clara crumpled the paper in her fist, anger replacing the dull ache in her chest. She would not go quietly into the night. She would not let age define her. She would dance again. But how? The question hung heavy in the air, unanswered, seemingly unanswerable. Defeated, Clara closed her eyes, willing away the tears that threatened to spill. A knock on the door startled Clara from her despair. It was her brother, Thomas, his face etched with concern. He had always been her confidant, her rock. He knew her dreams, understood her pain. "You've been reading those dreadful newspapers again," he sighed, gathering the discarded sheets. Clara looked up, her eyes mirroring her despair. "They're right, Thomas," she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. "I'm too old." Thomas sat beside her, his gaze full of empathy. "Clara," he began, his voice gentle, "you are a force of nature. Age is just a number." Thomas, a brilliant scientist, had been working on a revolutionary project, a de-aging serum. It was highly experimental, shrouded in secrecy, but he believed it could be Clara's answer. He explained his idea, his voice filled with cautious hope. Clara listened, her initial skepticism giving way to a flicker of excitement. The decision was not made lightly. Days turned into weeks as Clara grappled with the enormity of what she was about to do. Finally, the day arrived. Thomas, his hand steady despite his apprehension, administered the serum. The transformation was swift and startling. Clara felt a tingling sensation, a rush of energy, then a strange shrinking feeling. She looked down at her hands, now tiny, her skin soft and youthful. Her reflection in the lab's mirrored wall confirmed the unbelievable truth. She was a child again, a 4-year-old girl staring back at her with wide, innocent eyes. The world felt different, overwhelming in its immensity. Her limbs felt uncoordinated, her movements clumsy. She had to relearn everything, from walking to talking. But beneath the initial fear and confusion, excitement bubbled. She had been given a second chance, a chance to dance again. The biggest challenge was adjusting to her new life. Thomas, unable to raise a 4-year-old on his own, made arrangements for Clara to be adopted. He found the perfect family, a loving couple who had always yearned for a child. Leaving her brother was hard, but knowing he was nearby, watching over her, eased the transition. Her new parents, oblivious to her past, showered her with love and affection. She was their little Clara, a bright, cheerful child with an unquenchable thirst for dance. As soon as she could walk without wobbling, Clara was enrolled in a local ballet class. Surrounded by other children, her initial awkwardness faded. She moved with a natural grace, her body remembering a language it had never truly forgotten. Section 6. Tiny feet, giant leaps. The dance studio became her sanctuary. While other children struggled to master the basic steps, Clara excelled. Her movements were fluid, her posture impeccable. She danced with a passion and intensity that belied her tender age. Her teachers were astonished by her talent. "She's a natural," they whispered, their eyes following her every move. Clara soaked up their praise, her confidence growing with each passing class. She practiced tirelessly, her small body pushing its limits, her determination unwavering. Word of the prodigious young dancer spread. Soon, Clara was invited to audition for a prestigious ballet academy, a breeding ground for future stars. She stood before the judges, a tiny figure in a sea of hopeful faces. The music began, and she started to dance. Section 7. Whispers of the Past. As Clara danced, a hush fell over the room. The judges, initially dismissive of her age, watched in captivated silence. Her every movement resonated with a depth and maturity they had never witnessed in one so young. Yet, amidst the joy and exhilaration, Clara couldn't shake off a peculiar sensation. It was as if a forgotten melody played at the edge of her consciousness, a familiar echo from a life she could no longer grasp. Faces from the audience, blurred and indistinct, seemed to hold a flicker of recognition, their whispers tinged with a strange familiarity. Thomas, present at every audition, watched his sister from the shadows, his heart swelling with pride and a tinge of sadness. He knew the whispers would come, that her talent would inevitably draw attention and speculation. He could only hope that when the truth emerged, the world would be as accepting of Clara's unwavering spirit as he was. Section 8. The night of the performance. Years flew by in a whirlwind of rehearsals, performances, and accolades. Clara, now a teenager, was a rising star in the ballet world. Her talent was undeniable, her passion infectious. She had achieved her dream, but the journey was far from over. The night of the grand performance arrived, the culmination of years of relentless training and unwavering dedication. The theater was packed, the atmosphere electric. Clara, adorned in a sparkling tutu, stood backstage, her heart pounding in her chest. This was her moment, her chance to prove that age was no barrier to achieving her dreams. As the music swelled, Clara took her place on the stage. The spotlight found her, illuminating her like a beacon in the darkness, and then she began to dance. She moved with a power and grace that belied her youth, her body a vessel for the music, her soul pouring out into every movement. Section 9. A Star is Reborn. The audience watched, spellbound, as Clara weaved her magic on stage. They saw not a girl, but a force of nature, her every movement a testament to the indomitable spirit of a dancer reborn. When the final curtain fell, the silence was deafening. Then the applause erupted, a tidal wave of appreciation that shook the very foundations of the theater. Among the cheering crowd, a lone figure stood, tears streaming down his face. Thomas watched as his sister, bathed in the adoration of the world, took her final bow. His heart ached with a love that defied explanation, a love that had weathered the storm of transformation and emerged stronger than ever. Clara's story became a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of perseverance and the boundless possibilities that lay beyond the constraints of time. She had shown the world that it was never too late, or in her case too early, to chase a dream. For within her young heart beat the soul of a dancer, forever young, forever in motion, forever free.